Several listeners have written in asking if I could address how to quiet the ADHD brain for real meditation. That's what I want to talk to you about in today's episode.
Hello, and welcome to the Constance Messmer Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in.
I want to remind you that I am not a healthcare professional. However, I have had 3 decades in the field as an intuitive expert, giving reads, offering guidance, doing healing sessions, leading meditation so that people could connect with spirit and their own higher truth. So I want to weigh in on these thoughts about how would you quiet the mind for real meditation. If you joined me for my last episode, it was about how to move from trauma to intuitive potential. Yeah. And it made me realize that a lot of times people that have been through either trauma or abusive experiences, which are one and the same, right? Abuse is trauma. If you've been through trauma, you might have come out of it with a bit of ADHD or hyper awareness, right? All of these things. I know I did coming out of childhood trauma. I can bounce all over the place. And I don't know if it's just astrology or if it's just being astutely aware and hypersensitive. And what it has helped me do is to be in multiple places at once. And maybe you can relate to this. And so it's great to be multitasking mentally in this way, but it can interfere with your meditation practice, depending upon what the goal of your meditation is, right? And that's what I would want to ask you is, what is the goal of your meditation practice? I think people think of meditation generally as in, calming the mind or, just going blank. And that's not always the case. And very few people could actually do that. But I think you can have a sustained period of focused concentration on one particular thing for quite a while. And I know myself, we can use meditation moments to go to higher states of awareness and into the great spaces of heightened consciousness, right? Into the quantum field. We can do this. This episode is not about that in particular. This is about working towards similar arenas. I am listening to spirit as I get some of this information, and I know some of the things that I want to say, but I always have an ear open to what might be important to be delivered to you. So I think sometimes if you're just starting a meditation practice or if you're trying to talk to spirit, there's some things that you can do beforehand that would be beneficial, some other forms of meditation that you might want to practice for a while. One of my favorite forms of meditation that I do is actually a relaxation practice. Is at night before going to bed, I might go through, and you might do the same, where you lay flat and you go through different areas of your body, tensing and relaxing the muscle, tensing and relaxing the muscle. And once you've relaxed it, you move to the next part, to the next part, to the next part. And I never get to the end before I've fallen asleep, which is okay too, right? But what this does is it teaches you focused concentration on a specific area of your body, because you are giving your brain something to do. And if you struggle with ADHD, whether that's diagnosed or not diagnosed, but you just feel like you have kind of monkey mind bouncing all over the place, this could be beneficial to give your mind something to focus on, right? Sometimes I'm the kind of person that when I'm having active dream time or even interrupted meditation time, I have to have a notebook and pen nearby so that I can write down some thoughts that come up. Because when we go into these quiet spaces, our subconscious material might come up, or the things that we've put on the back burner might all of a sudden move to the front burner to just be like, listen, don't forget you have to call the vet today, or whatever it is, right? And so it's helpful because you've gotten quiet enough that all of these areas of your brain might fire and you might want to take these notes down. I wouldn't call that, you could call it a distraction. I actually call it helpful. So I just don't fight how you are, really. But I also know that you can train your brain. So I've done it myself in various times as I realized that thoughts are things, and it's important how you understand these layers of consciousness and how you can use your meditation practice to kind of build the muscle that is your mind, or build this greater relationship with how your mind functions. So relaxation is one. Vipassana meditation, I've talked to you about that before, I think, where it's noticing any subtle sensations on the body, again, taking the body in pieces, noticing any subtle sensations, and when you notice it, you move on to the next. And this is another way of focused concentration and noticing how your body is like picking up things all the time. And you might notice internal sensations or external sensation. Again, it is time for focused, meditative, contemplative awareness to what is going on, right? In your body, on your body, in your muscles, in the air, cooling, whatever the sensation might be, right? Pain, chills, whatever, any subtle sensation. This is insight meditation, usually known as Vipassana or insight meditation. Those two are my favorites, relaxation and Vipassana. I do those often, typically at night when I'm falling asleep, to just help me unravel my day. I also love to use meditation as an observation practice. So if you're someone that struggles with ADHD, brain, or busy mind that needs to be engaged, sometimes you have to work with what your strengths are, giving your mind something to do. So sometimes my favorite also meditative times or meditative moments are walking in nature and just bringing my awareness to what's right before me. Oh, there's a rock. Oh, here's the path. Oh, there's the sound of a bird. Oh, there's a squirrel. Oh, there's a rustle. Oh, who is it? Oh, it's another bird in the leaves. Oh, what's it smell like? It's this kind of moment of observation to really take in moment to moment what's happening in the environment, as opposed to letting my mind run roughshod on the day's events, what my to-do list is, world events, all of these things, how anybody's doing. It's be where you are, Constance. And I don't usually pick a busy place like a coffee shop. That's too much for my brain because there's a lot going on in those spaces. But out in nature, quiet, or sitting at the beach, right? Even, or sitting where you can be outside and maybe hearing the wind, hearing the birds. And it's just this observation, focused observation, meditative time of rest and relaxation. This again strengthens your psychic muscle to the degree that when you want to go and take your meditation time into conversation, you're starting to listen to faraway sounds, faraway smells, things that are subtle, things that are close. What do you see nearby, far away, in the grass, right before you? All of these things. These are great practices, how to bring the physical to the spiritual in this place, is this observation kind of exercise. I think also, too, there's this great opportunity when we use nature as our focus because it replenishes the soul, right? So even if that means going out on a trail walk somewhere or sitting in your backyard, or even imagining, if you're bedridden, imagining those sights and sounds. I can't tell you how many times I've put in earplugs to kind of go on this inward journey, right? Another way to do an observation focus is also experiential. Sometimes I'll go into memories. I'll walk my houses that I've lived in my youth, and I'll try to pick out every detail, the feeling, the sensation, the smell, the touch. I don't want to fill your head, but actually, like even to the point of in our kitchen, we used to have these tiles that were brick tiles. They were really flat. It was the style back then. We had the Harvest Green refrigerator too. See, I'm doing it now, and I imagine you're imagining it at the same time. So it was 70s, right? So 70s, 80s. So it's bringing as much as that into real life in your mind's eye. Smells, hearing, feeling, emotionally feeling, physically feeling, all of these things in a safe space so that you can have a full experience. Again, you are using heightened focus awareness to stay on track with what it is. Pick a favorite memory, walk through it in your mind. This is meditation It's unconventional meditation, but it is practices that I have used to build meditative rapport with my students. When I was doing students in person, we would go through these mental exercises so that they can understand the internal landscape as it presented through the imaginal realm, spiritual experiences in future things that I did with them. When it came time to look around someone else and give reads, or look in their own spirit realm to see who is around them, what does a guide look like, all of these kind of things. These are meditative exercises. This whole bringing in a meditative experience builds this kind of psychic muscle, if you will. You could also, in your meditation time, decide to look at a past life. This is also a great goal of meditation time. Is your meditation time to relax? Is it to accomplish something? Is it to converse with spirit? Like, what's your goal? Is it to heal? Do a healing? I'll get into that in a minute. Don't let me forget. Someone don't let me forget, because that was airdropped. Past life. I remember one of my favorite meditations that I did. Every morning I used to sit and meditate with spirit. My guide at the time was this guy named Samuel, and he was like, listen, you're going to start teaching, so let me start giving you the material. And I was like, what? So he gave me the material. We worked on it together. And then I taught, and it was fabulous material, right? But one of the times he's like, listen, we're not doing typical class. We're going to go on a field trip. And I was like, okay. So I would work with my guides and angels to go through realms of spirit. But one time the field trip was, let's go do a past life. And I was like, okay, cool. So I closed my eyes and let the awarenesses come to me. And I'll tell you in future episodes when I talk to you about fairies, it was a lifetime that I was a fairy. And I was like, this is wild. But I saw it, felt it, chills, I'm getting chills. This similar kind of thing that you might know yourself, which is why I'm getting chills, is that if you have this thing like, oh, I think I was probably, walking the planet in, Southern Africa, or I'm sure I was in East Asia, or, in the Philippine Islands, or I was in Texas, all of these arenas, like, God, there's this thing. Take it into your meditation time. Say, did I have a past life there? Let me look. I'm going to do episodes in the future on past lives, because that deserves its own kind of bullhorn of events. But you can definitely do this in your meditation time of, show me a past life that I need to remember for whatever reason, right? I think this is even in my Soul Yoga Chakra book. It is actually going through the chakras. Is there a past life I need to look at to help me kind of heal this chakra or balance this chakra? Sometimes past lives, we go through experiences that can diminish our power of a certain chakra. And so my book Soul Yoga takes you into some of those questions that you might want to consider very slightly, because it's not a past life book, but it does have the importance of looking at your chakras. So you might do that as a meditation experience. Pick up my book Soul Yoga. I didn't know that I was going to say this. Pick up my book Soul Yoga, pick a chakra, focus in. So any of these productive, engaging, mind-engaging ways brings your brain into like a focus task that will help you kind of quiet the bouncing. My book, Soul Yoga, Using Your 12 Chakras as a Map to Reaching Your Highest Potential, is all about coming into union with your true self. Because you see, your chakras aren't just energy centers. They're where your experiences live, your wisdom, your soul's memory. In this book, I walk you through the 12 chakras so you can remember who you are. This could be your most important journey yet. To get your copy, visit my shop at constancemessmer.com. Sometimes I think when we bounce, because I bounce too, having a task that is engaging creates hyperfocus, right? Some of you that might have kids that have ADHD, you can see that yourself. Like once they find their niche, then they're like, oh my God, they just jam in that subject, or they're, just a whiz at fixing things or whatever it is, because they like to engage and figure things out. It's because their brain can tap into these other realms and figure out crazy, wild, amazing new solutions to problems, this kind of thing. So, lean into your strengths is what Spirit's saying. I'm getting chills. So, healing. Thank you. So you can also use meditation time for healing. I have it in my Soul Yoga book too, about bringing in the light, holding and harnessing the light to a specific chakra, or just flooding yourself with light. Just imagine that coming in. any of these kind of meditative moments to, go in and healing light and recalibration and balance to these areas of your body or your mind or your emotions or, past, present, future that you need healing, imagining it coming in as light or frequency, blessings, all of these things in your meditation, in my opinion, because there was no, what is the word? There was no clear question specifically to what kind of meditation the people have been asking for. They're like, quieting the ADHD brain for real meditation. I'm like, there's a billion forms of meditation. But then I was like, oh, I'm not going to ask that follow-up. It's because I'm supposed to address all of them in this episode to you. So using any of these as a formula to approach meditation time so that you can build up to maybe then actually getting conversation, which will be what we talk about the next time we get together. So, yeah. That was quick, huh, Spirit? Quick, not so quick. That's all I got. What is the goal of your meditation time? Oh, and then there's the age-old. It's not all you got. The age-old breathe in, breathe out, and you focus on the breath. And you don't let it, the thoughts arise, but you don't attach. You let them come and you let them go, but you don't follow them. You don't think any further on them. You come back to the breath, back to the breath, back to the breath. I used to try to meditate with just a candle. Now I'll light a candle just if I'm doing, climbing realms to converse. But I used to light a candle and look at the candle to try to just only focus on that and have that be my quieting. But it didn't work. It's because I was supposed to use meditation time for other things. I was supposed to have a task, whether it was relaxing my body, healing myself, conversing with spirit, looking at past lives. Maybe you're the same. Or going into that space of divine consciousness in the cosmic call. So I'll get you there in the episodes ahead. Into the quantum field. Yeah. Or the all that is. Okay. I'm asking spirit. Is that it then? That's it then. Okay. I hope that was helpful in any small way, shape, or form. Lean into your strengths. And maybe one of your superpowers is that ADHD mind. I know I have one, and I use it all the time as my superpower. It lets me gather all kinds of ideas from all different angles. So I wouldn't set on one path of meditation. I would use whatever path. I would use whatever path feels right for you in the moment, in that day. What do you need now? What's the goal? And which one is the best to get you there? Thanks for tuning in.